Hello there, bit of a different video today, and I know, right? Why? Well, the reason being is the case that during this week, my phone and computer died. Great. Love that. So, good news, phone got replaced. Hooray, that's what I'm recording this on. If anything, the camera's a little bit better, which is nice. Unfortunately, because this video is very unedited, don't have the audio same quality as normal because of the simple case that I don't have time to hook up everything and get all of this stuff sorted out. Bad news. The video that I was working on, that's been corrupted. The whole editing footage gone. So I'm having to edit up again. The raw footage is still around, good, but yeah, the video that I had almost done, yeah, that's gone. So I've got to do it all over again. Love that. 10 out of 10. So yeah, that's why I've now got this video and why I'm talking to you like this. Because I want to be honest, I want to end up keeping this communication up and I want to give you guys something at least. So today, I guess I'll show you and talk to you a bit about mini painting, because that's a concept in D&D and TTRPGs, which is quite important. Because, yeah, minis, when do you use them? When is an appropriate time to end up bringing them out into your games? So, miniatures in your TTRPG games are all great, well, fun, love them. You can end up having fancy terrain, you could end up just having game mats. That like, you can do a lot of stuff with it. And really, when do you end up choosing to bring out miniatures? Well, the important part there is to know how much money investment you want to end up putting into your D&D games or TTRPG games, because of the simple case that miniatures cost money. Not only that, but then you end up having to end up getting everything that is included, including snippers, glue, filing equipment, and then paintbrushes and paint. Yeah. That can be expensive, especially if you've never ended up doing it before. So what I recommend for miniatures is either avoid using them where possible. Certain games end up thriving very much in using the theatre of the mind. That's just sort of how we've done D&D for a huge portion of time. Or you end up grabbing what you can. Things like your standard Lego minifigure, like D&D and Lego end up making their own D&D figures. Like, you can use those. That's a great way to handle it because they're already made, they're already good to go. They're roughly the correct size. They're not really, but it's close enough. That's an option. Or you can instead go with the silly option, which is I'm going to end up actually making and painting all of my miniatures. Now, it's great because, yeah, you end up having that customizability. You can make literally anything. The internet is a plethora of information and have so many people just printed out versions of almost every character class, race, gender, combined into everything, right? Like, you can get anything when you end up looking for 3D printed models, which is good. And you can even buy like officially licensed ones. Like what I occasionally do is I end up purchasing the D&D pre-painted miniatures. No offense, but the paint job for those things is terrible. Absolutely atrocious, right? It's not good. And so what I do is I end up getting them and then I paint them myself. I've done mini painting for a long time. I've done it since I was like 8. So I've got years and years of experience. And what it means is that when I end up doing paint jobs and everything, my end results look like this. Like, years and years of practice and everything mean that I can end up making miniature painting quality where I've taken my time. This guy, 4 months. Mini painting is not a fast thing, so I don't recommend it to everyone unless you've got time, experience, and are prepared for the investment that you are going to be putting in. Because not only does it take time, these things cost money. This is what I'm using for my big bad in one of my campaigns. Because look at him. He's an evil lich lord. He's absolutely perfect, right? But if I wanted to end up painting it from scratch, if I had no experience with mini painting, I would have given up. Just given up because of just how detailed and bloody difficult it is. So what I recommend is if you're just starting out is to instead get smaller minis. start out with painting your player characters and start out with smaller hordes, because it's a lot easier and you get some experience in, and it means that if you're doing bad paint jobs, it means that people aren't really going to notice in your sea of similarly coloured minis. And then if you're getting into your more cinematic, more important moments where you've got to have a big villain boss thing, then I recommend closer to minis like this. What I mean by this is, yes, undead T-Rex, terrifying concept, right? Scary. You end up having to deal with the case of, oh no, that's just bad. But the thing is, in terms of mini painting, it's not super ridiculously detailed. Like, yes, you end up having the finer detailing going on with the rotten flesh, the bones jutting out, the potential pallid eye. Like, there is detail going on with this mini. But the thing is that it's relatively similar throughout. It's mostly just 3 real colours, which is 4 really. Is your bones, your skin, your undead flesh, and then your extras. So your fancy eye, and then I guess 1 for the base. So it's a lot quicker to end up doing a mini like this than it is my previous guy, because it's just less detail. So if you're still just starting out, I recommend working your way up and trying to pick things that don't have a huge amount of color palette, or are big but they don't have a huge amount of detail. Detail is one of the hardest things to end up getting right when you're just starting out with mini painting, because, well, it's detail. Unless you have the right painting equipment, unless you have the steady hand and experience of painting, it's just gonna be frustrating. Like, I end up getting frustrated mini painting all of the time, and I have a swath of grey minis because just how detailed they are. So, believe me, it can be difficult, it can be a headache, and I don't recommend just rushing in to buying the biggest, fanciest mini you possibly can unless you have previous painting experience before, or you have a friend in your party who is willing to end up doing the painting for you. The only other real things which I would recommend is don't go heavy-handed on purchasing minis. Like, it's fun, and if you end up having other hobbies that those minis can be included in, one of the best things for being a D&D player in England is the case that we end up having Games Workshop, Warhammer, everywhere, and I'm pretty certain the States end up having a lot of them as well. But it means that if you end up getting Age of Sigmar minis, Warhammer Fantasy version at the moment, you can end up putting them together. You can end up using them in your D&D games, and you can use them in your tabletop games. So, you know, it's all right. It makes sense as to why you're buying a lot of miniatures in that situation. But be aware, the ocean of grey minis that can happen from this is big, very big. It's just a lot. And so, yeah, that's a thing which you need to be aware of and try to avoid where possible. Aside from that, only other real thing, paint. What do you do? Where do you buy it? There are so many dedicated YouTube channels that end up going over into greater detail about all of this. But my recommendation is whatever is the cheapest and easiest you can find that is also of decent quality, which I know that's like the trifecta of perfection when it comes to paints. But it's true. If you can end up finding Citadel paints for cheap, great, grab them. You can buy them online for cheaper than you can in store. If you can end up finding like some Vallejo paints for cheap, get them. They are really good. But not everyone can. So if you're ending up saying, I don't know what paints I need to end up getting, the important thing is this. They need to be acrylic and they need to be able to be watered down. You don't want to end up using thick amounts of acrylic paint on your minis, for goodness sake. And also, my recommendation, go to your local hobby store and ask for their recommendations where to get them. Because there's going to be people in your area who have gone through this and probably know where is the best place to buy paints. Don't invest in a paint air gun. You can, you should eventually if you're really into the hobby. But as an example, I don't have one. I don't have the space, don't have the money to end up using it. And yet I've just painted by hand for years and it's worked out fine. Yeah, it can save you time, but not that much. There's a scale. The more experienced you are with painting, the longer individual painting things take, but the higher quality that comes out, because everything just takes time. The longer you work on anything, the more it'll end up looking nice. Doesn't mean that it's going to be good. It just means that it's going to look like you've spent a lot of time on it, especially when you know what you're doing. But yeah, painting, mini painting, and the miniatures, they're very useful, very handy, great visualization, and trust me, if you end up playing D&D for long enough, you're gonna want to end up using these things in basically all of your games. And sometimes you can't, and that's when it hurts, because then you've just got this fancy mini that you can't even use. But that's mini painting, that's miniatures, at least in a very... I didn't have much time to end up coming up with this video, and so I'm literally rambling off at the top of my head. What did you think? Do you like it? Do you not? Let me know. Write it down in the comments, give this thing a like, subscribe to the channel for more actual content. I hope this is not going to be a regular occurrence where I'm underprepared, but we'll just have to end up seeing. And in the meantime, friends, I'll see you later. Keep an eye out on the TikTok, YouTube shorts for more videos and more content on the regular, and keep an eye out every Friday for more stuff. All right, until the meantime, see you again later. Bye-bye.